right, and we're off. Hi, Lori. Welcome to Coronet, Chicago's 15 Women in 15 Minutes. For everyone who's watching, this is Lori Mukoyama. She is a principal and design director at Gensler, Chicago. And I am Carla Simmons. I'm a global account manager with Herman Miller, also based here in Chicago. And if I've learned anything about doing these, it's a tall order to cover as much as we need to cover in 15 minutes. So I'm going to get started right away. And Lori, truth be told, we had some time together yesterday just to get to know one another. And I have so many more questions for Lori that we're going to have to cover, I think, in our own time in a different venue. But you have such a rich background, both professionally and personally. I thought maybe before we talk about your career path, if you could give us maybe just a glimpse into sort of who you are personally outside of work.
Yeah, I love that. I am outside of Gensler and outside of being a design director, I am a mom. I have two kids, actually 16. My son just turned 16 and he started to drive, and a daughter who is 10 years old. So I feel really lucky, and I'm in the Chicagoland area.
And have you been like everybody sort of managing work, and are they remote
Just
learning?
Like everybody else. Exactly. I am managing, living at home, working at home, managing a husband at home with everybody else. And I just got a puppy as well, because that wasn't quite enough. So added in a COVID puppy to the mix of the family. But
I think I think a lot of us have, well, I mean, I think the sort of the rescue and the puppy market has maxed out during this time, because I think everybody sort of thought their thinking was the same way. What more can we add? Let's get a puppy. It makes sense. We're home all the time, right? Better timing than never.
I know. But it's been honestly a little bit magical in the sense that usually, probably just like yourself, right? We're always traveling, always out. We have like late nights or commitments. So it has been nice to be a little bit more grounded at home with the family, even if it's just after hours, or if it's being able to eat dinner together every night, it's pretty magical.
And this is just a random question, when was the last time you were in an airplane? Do you know?
Yes, I do, because I did, I'm glad this is public, but I did get to go out to Napa in the summer with my husband and I. We did go out for a weekend before, when everything had opened up a little bit, and it was a really nice way to social distance with him over a weekend. So yeah, I did. But before that, it's been a year before that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Probably a really great and much needed break for the two of you.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got to do that.
Yeah, I don't have any future travel plans yet.
Yeah, no, I don't think any of us do. We're waiting and seeing. So, okay, so why design? Like, what inspired you to choose this path in the first place?
Yeah, actually, I went to school to be an occupational therapist at Madison to begin with.
Oh.
And I thought I would go down a very different path. My mom is a physical and occupational therapist, so I was really inspired by her. What I didn't realize is what inspired me about her was that she was actually really driven, and had her own business, and had double degrees. So to me, at the end of the day, what inspired me was her never giving up kind of spirit. And when I was growing up, being in a typical Asian household, right? So we had to take summer school every year. And so every year my mom would say, okay, you're going to take science. And then she would say, but you can take one fun class. So I would take painting, or I'd take watercolors, or I'd take, sculpture. And so as I progressed in my career, I was able to, or in my, school career, then I actually kept taking those artistic classes, which led me to interiors.
Interesting. See, we didn't cover that yesterday. That's a great story to start one way, right? In one completely unrelated profession, and wind up where you are today. So, okay. So tell us a little bit about that journey then. So did you graduate with an occupational therapy degree, or
no,
did you?
I actually realized about halfway through, I said, oh God, I really want to go into something more artistic. Interiors were really interesting to me. I mean, throughout my life, I love being artistic in a way, but wanted to be able to apply it to not a real life situation, but maybe more of a corporate, like 9 to 5, or a job that I could grow and advance in. So I thought interiors made a lot of sense. And I feel really passionate about spaces people can connect with. And I think that's what is so different about, the human experience with interior design.
And you could almost draw some parallels to occupational therapy that way too, couldn't you? I mean, if that's
It's
right.
true. They both help people. They both enrich people's lives. They
Yeah.
both make a difference. They're very inspiring in a very different way. But I do appreciate both.
So you graduated with a degree in interior design. Is that
Yep,
correct?
I graduated with a BFA. Yep, and I started my career in very small boutique type firms, and then after like my positions kind of changed, that I thought, oh, I got to challenge myself, and I wanted to be able to grow, my design wings a little bit, and went to a larger firm where I could work on larger space.
And okay, so take us through that. So when you graduated, when you said smaller, like retail.
Yeah, it was really with small boutique retail restaurant firms, where I was in those kind of spaces, all under 5,000 square feet.
Okay.
And which I loved. It's really personal. I really love that my parents could go to it, my family members could enjoy these spaces. And then as I kept going, 9/11 hit. So when 9/11 hit, my whole office closed down. Actually, they closed my whole office. So I had just bought a place, my first place in the West Loop. It was really hard. So I went out on my own, and I had my own business for a little over a year. And this actually really changed me, because at a very young age, in my 20s, I was starting to say, oh my gosh, I need to bring in my own business. I need to have my own work to be sustainable. I need to understand how to bring work in, but not only just do it, and then also, bill for it and collect. So actually it was a blessing a little bit in disguise, because I was able to understand the whole business at a very young age. And I think that's what molded me into the person that I am today.
So these were design clients that you brought in. I mean, these were, okay, how long did you do that? And did it, I mean, as much as you learned from it, and I'm sure it cultivated, I mean, just the business side of it, obviously, and the business side of it, the financial side of it, the new business development side of it, on top of the design work. Were you able to pay the bills? I mean, did that work? Yeah.
I made it through. I was really lucky. And some of those people are still, good friends today, or I still am able to work with some of them, because they're great restaurant, entrepreneurs in themselves.
Yeah.
And, I got to watch some of my then very young clients who only, were starting out with one small space, be able to develop and now own 10 restaurants. So it's been a really neat growing pattern to see these people who now became my friends. So that was another thing I learned, that when you're working with people and they're your clients, you can definitely, become friends with them, or you're going to have a different type of relationship. But that was a great way to grow as well. So I really am appreciative of that. And then actually one of my clients became my future employer. I started working at a marketing agency after that. And then that taught me a lot about how to really understand consumer behavior in definitely a different way, which is applied now to hospitality and retail and office, headquarters. So I feel like understanding how people live and how they're actually touching and interacting with products or their life is really changed the way I've designed too.
You have a lot of different perspective based on the experiences you had really early in your career, really great foundation.
As people are going through COVID and this pandemic right now, sometimes, we'll come out of it very differently, but I think that we'll come out of it with very different skills too. And maybe we can't quite see them now because I'm focused on, I haven't gone on a vacation in a long time, but I do believe in my heart we'll come out of it with, wow, I really gained, this one intense skill, like even if it's for my own kids having executive learning skills now, right? So before, no one would have had to be fluent in the art of what we're doing right now and just speaking online and being professional or being able to present a project this way all the time. But I feel like we have learned now new skills, which will come out of it and will make us stronger.
The resiliency idea of all of this, and using this time to really hone some new and exciting and maybe different skill sets. I totally agree. So then, okay, take us a little bit further. Then how did you get to Gensler?
So I was at CRTKL before this for about 10 years, and I was
Okay.
it was a great stretching, and I was able to learn from there. I was able to work on like millions of square feet. So I went from like 5,000 square feet to like millions of square feet, which was a great kind of design stretch, which I would encourage everyone to do. And then we also started to work internationally there. And I really appreciate international work because it got me out of my own comfort zone. So I felt very comfortable designing here in the US, or, people that spoke my same language. To suddenly now go to Japan or go to China, go to the Middle East was like a whole new ball, a whole new ball of wax. So I really appreciated that. And after doing that for about a decade, I again felt the need to stretch. So sometimes you can keep stretching, like,
I'm sorry.
no,
Okay, there we go. It's not a proper call unless my dogs go crazy. I'm sorry. Keep going.
no, and that's part of, right? That's part of what we're going through. That's what
Oh,
but so to be completely fair, my daughter brought me in a drink. So, we all have things
while we were talking?
while we were talking. Yeah.
Okay, see, your daughter's a lot better at covert activities than my senior dog. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
But I was able to meet a woman named Nyla and then a woman named Ann Gibson at Gensler, and they were just phenomenal role models, I thought, in our design industry, and still are today. So I was really inspired by them. And it took, as everybody at Gensler, we have a Gensler story to get in, but it took about 6 months, and I felt really fortunate to arrive and be in a great studio and just really be able to grow there too. So I loved Gensler because it almost created a whole second chapter to my design career and to, things that would stretch me. And it's definitely just the beginning of that journey.
And is that why you chose Gensler? I mean, were you looking to make a change, or was it that it was Gensler where that you knew you wanted to be there? I mean, is that?
No, that's a great question. It was probably a combination of both, because Gensler, like, I've grown up in my design career, like getting an interior design magazine and seeing Gensler on the cover. But what makes Gensler so unique is that, it's not just about like the cool photos of it, but it's really about the great project. And Gensler has over a 90% of return rate for your clients. So our clients aren't brand new every single time, but they're people that we've invested sometimes 10, 20 years, 30 years with, which is what I feel passionate about, having kind of built my own career on relationships.
Yeah.
So I really like that about it. And so I wanted to kind of be able to continue my career with a place that aligned their goals with mine, plus being just an inspirational and aspirational design firm to me was great. So I've been really happy with that transition.
And how long have you been there?
I've been there a little over 3 years. Yeah.
Okay. And your principal, can you tell us about that?
Yeah, being a principal. So the interesting thing, I don't know if everybody knows this at Gensler, you come in untitled. So even if you're a senior lateral hire, which they call it, so as a vice president at CRTKL, you still come in and you have to kind of pave your own way. And they're really great about kind of helping you take some of those steps, but it's also upon you to be invested in the culture, to learn about the people, to learn about, how to build the business within Gensler, which is a little bit different, right, than anywhere else I've been to. So part of that was a little bit of a growing for me too, just to be able to understand the firm and then be able to grow myself within the firm.
It's I don't know, it's a really great accomplishment in such a short period of time. And it says a lot about you and your skill set and your efforts and your experience and your expertise. So congratulations.
Thank you. But I have to give a shout out because it's not alone. Like, so there are amazing people I work with, like Stephen Harrell, who heads up hospitality, or, Luigi, who heads up retail. So all these people, they create this beautiful, like, these cluster of stars, or they like to say, like, we're all just a star that makes up the universe. And I really believe in that. And so if, what's so good about Gensler is that you're able to start as like a young designer, but then your career within it. And then there's a lot of different kind of paths that you can take. So I just feel really lucky to be on a path that also keeps me inspired and keeps me going.
I like the star analogy more than it takes a village. That's a good one. I'm going to use that one. I like that one.
They
So
say it's a constellation of
I
stars,
do. I like it. It gives you a good visual. It
right?
does.
It's really great.
Right. It does.
Admittedly, I did buy Art Gensler's book beforehand because I'm like, what is this Gensler all about, right? So I would get that if I was anybody because it's also a good read.
That's awesome. So, okay, and I'm looking at the clock just to be mindful. I'm thinking about just the words you've used. I'm thinking about the fact that you're a professional woman who's had this career where you've had to reinvent yourself a few times. You've used words like inspiration, connected, personal relationships, as it pertains to design. As a woman, a professional woman who has forged her own path, have you had opportunities along the way to, I don't know, touch or connect with others as far as, I thought the bone would would keep him busy, but clearly no. In a way where you've able to sort of pay that forward with other people, maybe within your firm or with other people in your life who maybe have some of the same aspirations as you. That was a long-winded question. I'm sorry,
No,
but
I understand. Like enriching people's lives is a really big deal because people have obviously invested in your life or in my life to really, help us get to where we are. So I have a soft spot and a very warm heart for, especially for women designers, because I understand the different paths that we go on. We have a lot of different points, like whether we're having kids or whether we get married, like there's a lot of different pivot points. So this year, when the pandemic hit, we started a new initiative in our office, and it was the art of successful interiors. And the reason we did this was because we realized, wow, none of these women, interior designers have had the opportunity to really learn how to grow the business. And I'm not talking about all women. I'm talking about more of like the 0 to 10 year kind of range in there. And so we had homework to do, we had great speakers coming in, and we really learned how, and we taught how to teach, the building of the business to these amazing women that were already, fabulous designers, but they needed to be more rounded and needed to be able to survive during these pandemic times. And, just in regular times, we just need people to be able to still sustain.
Was there a need identified for this, or was it just that even though we're all still very busy, there's an opportunity now just because we're a captured audience, right? Like what was the motivation for doing that?
Before the pandemic, I think people were able to just be siloed. Like, okay, you're just going to do great design. You're just going to be a great technical designer. But now we realize you're only as good if you can have that for a business, right? So if I'm doing that for a client, then it's successful. But if I'm just a good designer in my own world with no client, then it's not going to help you.
Right.
So we looked at the broad spectrum of work, knowing that projects were going on hold, projects were putting off to the next year.
Yeah.
We realized we had to build it. And one of my favorite success stories is a girl named Riley in our studio. She connected with our Studio 3 client, which is a really cool fitness gym. And she worked and, just created more of a strong relationship with the owner there, and brought in some new work for our studio that was us creating their Instagram, like some of their hits on their sites. So we had an amazing designer named Hey Jay, do these beautiful illustrations. And why it was so great is it was work that we haven't done before in our office. So not only was this work additional to our existing client, but it was a new type of work that we hadn't done before in our office that was inspirational not only to us as leaders, but to the whole staff, because it touched them. Instagram, who isn't, holding their phone right now? Who isn't always connected?
Right. And to take some of that foundational learning that Riley did and actually put it into action. And what a huge testament to not only the program, the leadership of those involved, but also, her peers, right? To actually see sort of the fruits of your labor in action, and the fact that it was something that you haven't done before. How cool, how creative.
That was
Are you
really,
doing more of that? Are you continuing this throughout
yep,
forevermore?
right? We can't stop. So yes, we actually are right now. I'm working with two fabulous women, Amanda and Lisa, and we're working on returning moms back to work. So we realized there is a need because they were both pregnant moms. When you come back to the office, it's almost like being reinduced, right, to Gensler or to the firm, and your life is totally different. You've got this new child, and we're actually helping create, that path for women when they come back. Everything from what kind of projects they would want to work on to informing them of where, the different nursing rooms are,
Yeah.
and to having a support system and having a buddy in the office. And so it's been really exciting to see that piece come to fruition, because I think that's, again, something that will enrich these women's lives and enrich my life too, because I feel like we're giving back, not just in a design sense, but giving back in more of a 360, almost like a breath of fresh air to our careers.
How important though is that I mean, as big of a deal as that is, so often overlooked, right? I mean, for those of us who have had kids and have gone back to work, and everyone's story is a little bit different, but to have had that extra attention and, thoughtful approach to, hey, I might have some different needs, or I might not want to take on as big of a load, or I might want to do some work sharing with some, just to have that acknowledged is amazing and really cool. And you've given me two different examples of how, I don't know, I wouldn't say it's because of COVID and the pandemic, but it's when we take a moment to sort of stop the noise and think about how we can influence, help others, do things a little bit differently, think outside of the box, if you will. Those are really cool. And I really hope that maybe some of the people that are watching this are also inspired by these stories and can think about ways in which they can apply some of their own thinking to their own organizations and to the women that they're working with. Very cool. Thank you, Lori.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right. I think I've my recording. I'm so bad at this, but I think we are at our time.
Perfect.
You've been great. I am thrilled that we got paired together, and I meant it when I said in the beginning, I have so many more questions for you. So hopefully we can spend some time, one-on-one outside of the Cornet loop. And I thank you so much for your candor, and you're inspirational. Thank you.
You too. I actually got off, we met yesterday and I went to my family. I said, "Hey, this is an amazing woman." So
Yeah.
I really appreciate your time too.
Thank you. All right. Have a great rest of your day. And thank you for doing this. We're so thrilled that you agreed to. So thank you. Have a great day.
Okay, bye.
Bye.